Unraveling emotional memory loops, break free from the past. That is our topic today. You're not broken, you're just in a loop, and not the kind you can think your way out of. Because this isn't just mindset, this is memory, but not the kind you consciously remember. I'm talking about emotional memory, the kind that lives in your nervous system, not your narrative. It's the memory that doesn't speak in words, it speaks in reactions, in avoidance, in sudden defensiveness you didn't expect, in the tightness in your chest when someone uses a certain tone, in the way your body braces, even when nothing's wrong. That's not weakness, that's an emotional memory loop. And if you feel stuck right now, if you keep working on yourself but always seem to end up back in the same place, this is probably the real reason why. See, your brain doesn't store memories the way a computer does. It doesn't file facts away neatly in folders labeled resolved. Instead, it tags experiences with emotion. And the stronger the emotional charge, the more your brain says remember this, at all costs. It doesn't even matter if the memory is accurate, your subconscious isn't looking for truth, it's looking for patterns that helped you survive. So when something happens today that feels similar to something that hurt you years ago, your brain doesn't wait for a full investigation. It reacts, fast, automatically. That's the loop. And here's where it gets more frustrating. You can understand this intellectually. You can even name the source: childhood, heartbreak, failure, abandonment. But the loop doesn't care if you understand it. Because understanding is conscious. And the loop is not. That's why people say things like, I know better but I can't seem to do better. Or, I've already processed this. Why is it still showing up? Because emotional memory isn't just a thought, it's a neural and physiological pattern. And patterns don't disappear because you had a breakthrough one afternoon, they weaken through repetition of something else. But that doesn't mean you're stuck with them forever. You just can't logic your way out. You have to interrupt the loop, in real time, with new evidence. You have to give your brain a reason to update the pattern, not just explain it. Before we keep going, if this is starting to click, if it's naming something you felt but couldn't describe, tap the like button so YouTube knows to show you more of this type of content. And if you want grounded, science-backed videos with no fluff, hit subscribe. So how do you actually interrupt a memory loop? First, we have to understand why it feels so hard to break. When you're in one, it doesn't feel like a memory, it feels like reality. That's because your nervous system doesn't just remember the event, it remembers the emotion, the environment, even the posture you held when it happened. And when something in your present day mirrors that even slightly, your body reacts as if it's happening again. Not metaphorically, biologically. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tense, your breath changes, and your thinking narrows. That narrowing is key because it means you're not just reliving a memory. You're being pulled into the emotional tunnel of it. That tunnel is the loop. And here's the paradox. Your brain is doing this to protect you, to warn you before something bad happens, but it's using an outdated script. You're no longer the same person in the same situation, but your nervous system doesn't know that unless you show it. So the goal isn't to fix yourself, the goal is to update your brain's internal story. And that starts by catching the loop as it's happening, not after you've already spiraled. That means becoming sensitive to the pattern. When do you feel yourself react before you think? What are the common triggers? Not just the people or situations, but the emotional tone behind them. Where in your body do you feel the shift first? Your chest, your stomach, your jaw? These aren't just mindfulness tricks. This is how you begin teaching your nervous system, hey, we're not in that moment anymore. That moment of awareness when you notice the tension rise and pause instead of react is the first crack in the loop. It won't feel powerful at first. It'll feel awkward, forced. But neurologically, that pause is massive, because it creates a window to respond instead of replay. Now your brain won't give up the old pattern easily. It prefers efficiency over accuracy. But that pause, that's the beginning of retraining. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to interrupt the loop often enough that the old pattern no longer feels like the only option. Because once your brain has a choice, once it sees another way to feel safe, that's when the rewiring begins. So once you've interrupted the loop, now what? This is where most people get stuck. They think breaking the cycle is enough, but here's the truth. Your brain can't live in a vacuum. If you remove a pattern, you have to replace it, or it will default to the old one under pressure. This is where emotional replacement work begins. The first step is teaching your brain a new felt experience that can compete with the old loop. Not a thought, a feeling. Because your subconscious doesn't speak logic, it speaks in repeated emotional experiences. Let's say your old loop was triggered by rejection. Even small, innocent moments like someone not texting back used to light up the old circuit. Now you've learned to pause, to not react. But what does your brain feel instead? If you don't give it something, it'll go looking and usually back to what it knows. This is where we introduce a deliberate emotional anchor. For example, you remind yourself not with a quote, but with a moment. A real moment where you were calm, centered, safe. It could be something small, the quiet before your morning starts. That one walk when your chest finally felt light. A sentence someone said that felt like truth. You breathe into that moment. You recreate the feeling on purpose. You tell your nervous system, this is the experience we're choosing now. It's not instant, but the more you pair this feeling with the old trigger and survive, the more your brain rewires. And here's the science behind that. Every time you revisit an emotional memory, your brain opens it like a file. It doesn't just replay it, it edits it. This is called memory reconsolidation. So if you interrupt the reaction, insert safety, and repeat that, you're not just resisting the loop, you're rewriting the loop. Not spiritually, neurologically. It's how soldiers recover from trauma, it's how kids unlearn fear, and it's how adults finally stop replaying stories that don't serve them anymore. Before we keep going, if this is helping you see your own patterns a little more clearly, hit the like button so YouTube shows this to others who might need it too. And if you want more grounded videos like this, neuroscience you can actually use, tap subscribe. Okay, now let's take this deeper, because disrupting and replacing are powerful, but there's one more step that actually locks in the change. Let's talk about that next. Here's the final piece that most people miss. You can disrupt the loop, you can replace the emotion, but unless your brain sees that change as part of who you are, it won't last. The loop will come back when you're tired, or stressed, or alone. Not because you failed, but because your nervous system wasn't fully convinced the new way is safe and true. That's where identity anchoring comes in. If your brain still sees you as the one who always gets triggered, then every win feels like a fluke, a moment of strength, not a new reality. But when you start saying, I handle rejection calmly now, or I don't rehearse pain anymore, I notice it, name it, and move through it, You're not faking it. You're instructing your nervous system. You're assigning a name to the new wiring. An identity is what your brain fights hardest to preserve, so once it shifts, everything else accelerates. This isn't about pretending. It's about describing your growth in present tense, not future hope. I'm healing as a destination. I'm learning to respond with clarity as a present identity. Subtle difference. So here's your 3-step framework, locked in. First, interrupt the emotional loop. Even a breath can break the pattern if it's conscious. Next, replace the feeling. Anchor a new emotional experience that tells your brain this is what safety looks like now. And finally, reinforce with identity. Say it, own it. I'm someone who doesn't need to replay that anymore. And here's the truth most people never hear. You're not broken because the loop still shows up. That's just your brain double-checking what version of you is running the show. Show it. Don't argue. Feel it. Don't force. Because the loop doesn't go away by fighting it. It fades when your nervous system finally believes it's no longer needed. That's what real freedom feels like. If this helped you reframe something in your own life, like the video so more people can find it, and if you want more grounded neuroscience-backed videos like this, hit subscribe. We've got more coming, and this is just the beginning. The content on this channel is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute medical, financial, legal, business, or lifestyle advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making changes to your health, finances, legal situation, or personal routines. Do your own research before making any decisions related to income, monetization, or technology use. All views are based on publicly available information and emerging trends at the time of publication and may evolve over time.